Welcome to our lovely IHP community, future humans, all those who love to do yourself and being yourself with the emotional regulation skills of a champ. So when you're in your prefrontal cortex, you're going to know what I know. Evil, yeah, no, doesn't exist really. Not in the same way that those who are still children. So if you tuned into the little bit of a TikTok live that we had today, you're going to hear how I share with you all why we know ourselves, and then we know when we have ostriches with their head in the sand. And I'm going to start with Michael Stone has a beautiful, the criminologist scale for the evil people. They have 1 to 22, it's regular people who get into trouble. Oh, monsters begin at the home. Just so you know, that's the very same place that anyone will have a 0-8-year-old, and then we get to see the ostriches copying each other. They're called Peter Pan's Lost Boys, and you can all put the 3D, 4D collective of mystics, spiritual bypassers, and everyone who is still in the Peter Pan Lost Boys land. Okay, so it's called not securely attached people. They continue to be the fight response, their 16-year-old version, and I use Maria's words to explain to you, but I'm attachment trauma educated, that which is not an energy vampire. It's simply a person who's dysregulated, will not be able to fix anything because their brokenness is not real brokenness. However, if they don't notice their maladaptive behavior and their insecurities, that's why the first 1 to 9, they all get in trouble. It's very sad. And as Gabor Mate points out, it's not why the addiction, it's why the pain. So anyone who disregards that their body is not connected, well, they dishonor themselves. And it has nothing to do with Lucifer. So the 4D, 3D collective, they continue with their stories, but wait, I'm not done with the scale. 16 to 22 are the ones who completely become serial killers, and then they like to torture people, and they end up in prison too. And that's where, again, unfortunate business for those human beings who had unfortunate beginnings. So there's an explanation for every one of these people, and those who don't like to hear it have double standards. But we're going to get to the insecure teenagers. That's what I call the adaptive child part people. They follow pseudo-intellectuals. I'm woo-woo pseudoscience, but I ain't pseudo-intellectual. They follow that which is sensationalization, but furthermore, they allow themselves to continue to dishonor their inner child. And I will not bring them shame, but I will not honor them. So here at IHP, we only have the people who are their true self, and then they continue to emotionally regulate thanks to mental and emotional and physical intelligence. As an Akashic record reader, it's awesome. I'm mastering still, and will continue to master Maria's physical plane because I'm here with you all. And it's an honor to tell you that we have a left, an ego, and a right, a self, and you put your left foot in and your right foot in and you shake it all about. Oh, and as a mystic, I download, I astral travel. Every single bit of what you've heard out there is true. The difference is that with a 5D body type, which means an empowered feminine, which means a body in connection, which means that Maria owns her 0-8-year-old. So when my 1-year-old cries, big girls, they do cry, yes they do. And it's okay because I got me. Big. There's another song that was coming. Yeah, I love those songs. Okay, so we have each other and we have ourselves. That's what a securely attached and untraumatized woman, man, or they will let you know. Okay, so that's what we are. Whether you're mystic, spiritual, mindful, you're going to stick around when you know how fun it is to be in a playground, your mind and your heart and your gut. And when people hurt your feelings, no. So let me get to the most important part of this lovely scale, because see, the 1 to 22, it is a Michael Stone forensic criminologist scale. So no, I don't believe, because you know what believe is? Believe is in the absence of proof. I have proof. So I have data that proves how the embodied brain works. I have data that proves every single one of 8 billion people what they're made of. And I have physical proof. This isn't hypothetical. I do believe in God, but God is faith. And it is my subjective belief, which is why as a grounded in reality human being and in aliveness, I know what is right and what is wrong, what is illusion, and saying lack of imagination for evil. Well, there you go. An illusion of a person who also, if I look away, their confidence will be eroded, which had that come out of my mouth, I would have been like, okay, I'm going to go to Bezel van der Kolk now. Because when you purposely manipulate people to hurt their feelings, you're an insecure person. And if I look away, your confidence is eroded, you own nothing of yourself, which means that any human being, tick, you're done. Let's see, wait a minute. Yes, when you cannot interact with people without giving them a hierarchy, so you need to do 1, 2, 3, that already tells me you have no idea what it means to have confidence. Double standards, all adaptive child part. Emotionally immature, that means an insecure human being who has no capacity to be their ego self in the way of a self-empowered, enlightening human being. Empowered feminines have empowered masculines. They are also people who have lack of comfortableness in any situation where they have no control. That's very unfortunate for them. So again, the lack of emotionally elite are out there. They're not monsters. They are at best 9 to 16. They show a fair number of psychopathic traits, grandiosity and superficial charm. Oh yes, the goodness and manipulation. No, they only fool the adaptive child part people because there's no goodness behind anyone who has grandiosity that is insecure. And it's not that they're not good, because every one of us can be good, but they are lacking complete capacity to be self-aware, to notice that they have weaknesses and to accept it, and then to be able to play fair, and then to be able to notice what it is to be an empowered person. So the word evil, the reason it means nothing to a person like me is because everybody who's in this needs a therapist. And that's about it. Okay, so when people like to flaunt that there's suffering in the world, I say yes, because there's a lot of ignorant people who ignore going to get their body online. And today, in the year 2025, as Patrick Tiahan, an awesome childhood trauma survivor, healing, I always say, has pointed out to his community, there's a lot of cowards out there who don't come and heal with us, but hey, we're doing great. And I say, yes, Patrick, I support you and your entire community. And you know what? You don't have to forgive anyone, because I totally don't know what it's like to be having a recognizing of the monster that I had to live with, and that then I was behaving in ways that were completely disrespectful to people, that used people, that got me into trouble, that put holes in my brain, and that basically had me half my life shitting away. Because that's exactly why I get what he's saying about not needing to forgive, because I'd be pretty enraged. But furthermore, because your first 3 years of life, implicit memory, that rage, that doesn't get hooked back on, yeah, it's because you don't go through the actual process of healing it correctly. So when you see those who are self-righteous, they're just passing on the baton. And they believe they're entitled. They also believe money fixes things. And they also have no emotional compassion, empathy, you name it. They have no idea what it means to be a person, which is why the goodness thing, it's an illusion. The grandiosity people, because anyone who is self-empowered will know, your ego. Yeah, it's not about it being empowered. It's inflated because beneath it, there's nothing, which is why we also leave them alone. Because the minute I do ding, it would not be funny. So when I meet insecure people, I shut it. That's it. Because I'm not going to be the one to say, hey, guess what? You can't convince, as lovely Bezel van der Kolk points out, you cannot convince someone to not date someone who is bad for them. And you will not convince those who have childhood trauma, who don't take going to Patrick Tiahan seriously, how to stop dating beneath themselves. In fact, all those people who dishonor themselves continue to think they're saviors and that humanity needs saving, which tells you already what big of a deal they want to be, which tells any human being who knows what it means for you to lack the sense of self and be empowered and know that you are worthy because you are you, and to feel it. My words don't matter. The body and connection matters. The ownership of an integrated brain matters. You being your grown-up version with a prefrontal cortex, like Terrio, matters. And those are the people who are going to stick around, because those are the people who actually honor themselves. As for the rest who don't notice that you wanting to have a hierarchy of 1, 2, 3 means that you have no idea what your worth is inside here, that you wanting to have control in a situation and needing it, that shows how much you are afraid, and to want to believe in a superhero and a supervillain, as well as needing to be hearing about rock bottom hitting people and rising from the ashes, tells any grown human being who's attachment trauma educated, you have no fucking idea how to use your prefrontal cortex yet, let alone wellness, let alone mindfulness. And it's in the minute that you don't know how to welcome every single bit of idiocy that happens with the capacity to know that God always wins, has no enemies, and cosmic karmic balancing always takes place, which is where true enlightened ones are at. Humanly speaking, it's called we know who wins, and we know there's no battle going on, and that's because we're also grounded in reality. All of our cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable because we are the authority of ourselves. It's called differentiated self. So you can tell me from today to tomorrow with all of the scientific explanation that you want that me as a mystic, every single thing that I'm experiencing is explainable by science. Okay, so what? You didn't do anything except for give me your subjective opinion, your beliefs, and then if you provide me data, you will have given me data. That means I will be grounded in reality and welcome and accept that. But these types of conversations don't actually happen, socially speaking, because see, this is where I don't prove any of that, which is societal topics. You know, we have a good time. If I wanted to do work like that, I'd stay in school, and I'm not in school. But science and spirituality come together. So let's get to some storytelling, okay? So the evil thing, they all need therapists. In fact, I surround them all with therapists. They're near volcanoes, and I have chosen also an order. That's my manifestation power. So I do and no, I don't, because I know God has everything taken care of. And then as an Akashic record reader, I know that everyone has a choice. If they want, they can expand. They don't have to. And again, you don't make someone go to therapy because that's where they will or they won't. If you tune into the TikTok live, you'll hear some of my thoughts on that one. But before we continue with what story I wanted to tell you, as an empowered feminine, we know our oversoul. So I'm Mystic Maria, okay? I'm just letting you know, woo-woo pseudoscience is great, but I share with you my mystic stories. I'm attachment trauma educated, and I support people want to be their self with mindful mindset practices because they're enriched every day by their emotional plane. We forgive humanity because every one of us is ignorant, flawed. We don't suffer life, though, because we're using a prefrontal cortex, and we are sad for those who don't know that they can get fixed because they're not broken. But they need to notice that their automatic behaviors are maladaptive patterns, inner outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, wanting hierarchies, not knowing how to let go of control, not knowing how to open their heart. And really, basically, they don't know how to be their open-hearted, spontaneous 3-year-old because they didn't get a good start. So as long as they're dishonoring their own child, I have nothing to say. I have to look away out of respect for them because God chimes in. Maria, don't judge your brothers and sisters of human suffering, a waste of your fucking time. Attachment trauma educators chime in. Maria, remember, they didn't choose to have pseudo aliveness, to have all the trauma shit. And then I got my mom chiming in. Hey, remember, daughter, I taught you to have manners. I'm going to do enough to be saluted as a human being who has unhealthy self-worth, unhealthy everything, wife, kid, we don't know. And in the meantime, I had nothing to do with their upset in that evening. And that's why emotionally immature people, I have nothing to say because I would be disrespecting that which is not only a fearful one, they are furthermore irresponsible because they're choosing to dishonor themselves, their Cusco, and because their ears are already dropped down, I'm really just dealing with what is trauma time. My trauma time comes up with my mom and my twin, and I say, I'm sorry, and then I work with it because I got a tone like anybody else does. This is called an empowered feminine. And when I meet the pretenders, they remind me of my facade friend. Thanks to him, I don't act like a buffoon. And that is why when you hear about Twin Flame Saga, no, not for the 5D collective of mystics, spiritual ones. Whatever words they will have used, they will not talk of their masculines, of their oversoul, of their light worker, of their rainbow body. They will not talk of any of that which is their spiritual life with a in and out group and a disrespect towards the others that they know. If they're empowered feminines, they will already have known the honor that they have been living and not that they're anointed and special and needed. We're not needed. Empowered feminines know free will. I am not needed for your soul. Your soul's journey, for those of you who are souls and you believe in it, I have nothing to do with it. I can't. I physically will not be able. You know what makes me laugh is people that think that they can actually break free will. And even once I became a mystic, there's no black magic. I've had shit happen. I'm just going to let you know. It was very much saddening, but then I remembered people don't know what they're talking about or doing sometimes. So you leave it alone. What we do, empowered feminines, is we know exactly who we're here to support, what we're supporting, and then that we're on a track, and that our lovely collective of oversoul, immediate and extended, they support us to become that which we have decided we would become. And they're all love. We're all love. Obviously, the fearful ones, they can choose to get out of that. But as long as they are a closed mind, they will be closed to possibilities. Okay? So only when you confront, we're going to read Sadhguru quote, your mortal nature does the longing to go beyond become a genuine force. Otherwise, the spiritual process is just entertainment. And so when you are mindfully aware and you are emotionally regulating and you're mentally regulating, you will treat your life with respect and all people. The attachment trauma educators have proven and continue and will continue to prove that every person can be that which is that kingdom of God within them, the seed of enlightenment, and that's called an emotionally, mentally mature person with the body in connection, owning their sense of self, whether they say spiritual or mindful. Now that you own the sense of self, you'll be able to have humility. You won't look at people with 1, 2, 3s, and you won't want control because you don't need it, because you're reassured within your own body in a way that's safe to be social. So you will always turn the cheek. You will be not casting stones on any unfortunate human beings, and you'll know that soul is not tainted because their heart is the same as your heart. But their embodied brain has automatic behaviors that are maladaptive, inner outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, and that if they don't want to get healed, they won't. And they're going to continue being Cuscos, which is why you know them like the back of your hand. Because we calibrate to each other. So if I'll perceive something's off, I'll be out of that room. And that's only if it's a physical threat. In the meantime, as Aristotle points out, he thought of friends as people that you consider a second self. So the love for friends, and I'm going to say every single one of those brothers and sisters of ours, we will love unconditionally. That doesn't mean that we will be in the presence of all, no. But we will all have the opportunity to turn their cheek and to give a hand and to be there for each other. And when you choose kindness, it's because you will have chosen to honor that which is called I can help you to get up. So when you're responding, it's called you're able to use equanimity, calm-centeredness, discernment, wise good judgment, and love because you're an emotionally mature person. As Terry would point out, you don't create assumptions based on tones. You're not reactive. You're able to simply put, have an interaction, repairing splinters and ruptures, and that is what's really fun about empowered feminine life. Even if someone's an empowered masculine, divine, not divine, whatever words you want to use, but you don't cut people out of your oversoul. You don't have saga again with twin flames. You will consistently know that every soul you meet is bringing you to that very place that is the empowered version. So for a mystic and spiritual one, it is that which is called enlightenment. And you embody the Christ consciousness, the oneness consciousness, and the frequency of that which is a restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating, humanly speaking. So for those of you who are sciences, your health. And then you continue to be intellectually smart and you don't fall for the buffoons, and we got to get together and laugh about them. And so with that being said, the story is that when God tells you to help a friend in need, you will always do that because you'll know that you don't need protection. Humanly speaking, of course, we all know strangers are strangers, and that's why you don't be stupid as you get older. You build a community of people that you can trust. And when things take place with emotionally immature people, we know that they are immature because they have not had the luck of beginning right. But if you reiterate your healthy boundaries, they will learn because they're still the same 0-8-year-olds that they used to be. And because if they do want to hang around you, they will learn how to be in your sphere because you're not going to judge them and tell them how to behave. You're just going to say, look, this is how I work, and they're going to be how they work. And that's why differentiated self and differentiated self, me, you, or we, Dr. Daniel Siegel has that, and we create a lovely sphere and we expand our oversoul. So we'll be back with more, but yes, our 5D collective, we expand mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people. We're all enlightening ones, and we're intellectually and emotionally intelligent, and we will be here again with more stories. Have a good one.